You ever ridden through a half-dug-up street at 6 in the morning when the whole world's asleep except one tea stall and a pack of street dogs? I did, last winter. Wearing an old hoodie, no gloves, just me, my classic 350, and a city that hadn't fully woken up. There was this stretch between Tenampet and Saidapet. Looked more like a war zone than a road. No streetlights, just a broken flyover above and loose gravel below. And right there, between the second and third crater, my old classic's rear suspension bottomed out with a third that felt like it traveled up my spine, lodged itself behind my eyes and said, "Good morning, Dad." I pulled over near a roadside cart, nursing my lower back with one hand and sipping watery chai with the other. An uncle sitting nearby, leaning on his Scooty Pep Plus, looks at me and says, "Enna pa, army la join banna marirge." I nodded. Rear suspension lada, sir. Little too patriotic. But I'll tell you something. That was the old classic. The one that punished you for bad infrastructure like it held a personal grudge. Reflective pause. The new J series? It's a whole different creature. I didn't even notice when the character shifted. Maybe it was that Kodai ride last monsoon, maybe the time I doubled my cousin on that broken farm road outside Madurai. But somewhere along the way, the bike stopped fighting the road. It started dancing with it. This episode is not about specs and numbers. This one is about how the Classic 350 handles real India. Not brochure India, not test track India, but flyover missing, rain ruined, surprise speed breaker India. And how somewhere between refinement and respect, that suspension found its soul. I still remember the first time I rode the new J Series Classic 350 on Chennai's Mount Road after a fresh round of metro digging. They'd left the road like a checkerboard. Patch, gap, hump, repeat. And I braced myself, like we always used to with the older model. You know that thing we do? Lift your bum just a little off the seat before impact, like it'll somehow save your spine? But then, nothing. No jarring jolt, no loud clang, just a dull thunk under the tires, and the bike kept moving like it knew what it was doing. That's when I realized this new suspension setup, 41mm front forks, twin rear shocks, it's not just some upgraded spec line in a press release. It's tuned for real life, for potholes that hide under water puddles, for flyover joints that feel like minor earthquakes. And it's not like the bike became a soft, marshmallowy cloud either. It still talks to you, still gives you feedback when you take a sharp corner on a flyover ramp or hit an unexpected rumble strip. But it doesn't scream. It nudges like a friend who taps your shoulder instead of slapping your face. I took it to Tiruvannamalai once. Me, a duffel bag and a half-broken state highway that looked like it hadn't seen maintenance since Jayalalitha's first term. And still, man, that classic just kept going. Even at 80-90 clicks, it didn't float, didn't bounce. The suspension held steady even when the road beneath didn't. I was tired, yes, but not beaten up. You know what hit me that day? This bike has matured. It's not that rowdy, bone-rattling rebel anymore. It's grown into this graceful old warrior. Still tough, still stubborn, but willing to work with the road instead of waging war against it. But the thing that really sealed the deal for me was a rainy ride in my village last year. Post-monsoon, those broken mud roads become, let's just say, testing grounds for suspension systems. I had my aunt riding pillion. First time she'd been on a bike in over a decade. And halfway through, she tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This one doesn't hurt like your old bike." That one line, worth more than any showroom claim. We talk a lot about torque, looks, mileage, all the usual stuff. But very few riders talk about suspension until it fails them. Until one pothole throws their confidence off. Until one pillion ride ends with a sore back and silent judgment. But that's the beauty of this new classic. It doesn't ask for attention. It just quietly earns your respect. I mean, yeah, it still has its quirks. On really broken stretches, the rear can feel a bit firm, especially if you're solo and haven't touched the preload. And let's be honest, how many of us even bother adjusting preload? Most riders don't even know it exists. 6 steps, 6 bloody steps, just waiting to make your life better. If you're riding with luggage or doubling up, tweak it. One or two clicks firmer can make a world of difference. I learned that the hard way, riding to Pondi with my brother, a full backpack and a lazy preload setup. Rear was bouncing like a Diwali cracker. Came back, adjusted it, and suddenly, boom! Balanced, stable, like the bike had grown a spine of steel and a heart of rubber. You don't need ADV suspension to survive Indian roads. What you need is predictability. And the Classic 350 gives you just that. It tells you, I won't erase the road, but I'll help you face it. That's what makes this suspension special. It doesn't lie. It doesn't promise air-cushioned rides. But it does something better. It listens. And on roads that don't care whether you ride a 1 lakh bike or a 20 lakh bike, that kind of loyalty from your suspension, that's priceless, man. So next time you're out riding, maybe just back from work, maybe chasing clouds down a lonely Tamil Nadu highway, pay attention to the way your bike moves beneath you. Feel how it takes the hit before you do. That's not just engineering. That's trust, built on steel and springs. And that's what the new Classic 350 suspension delivers. Not comfort, not perfection, but quiet confidence.